population size. So if you come from this continent where Nigeria seems to almost cover half of Africa, do you see that as an opportunity or a challenge? It can be both. Okay? Next slide. Now, mobile subscription. In 1990, Africa, on the left-hand side, okay? By 2002, you can see what it has become. And by 2015, that is what it has been by number of mobile subscribers. So focus on the lower chart. Extreme left-hand side is 1990, Nigeria transformed from what you can be influencers, content creators. None of them studied engineering, but they saw technology, social media as a tool to be used. When we talk about technology, most times you don't have to think about it. If we are not like Flutterwave, InterSwitch, Paystack, and all the others in fintech, how can we play? Fintech is financial technology. It's only one part of technology. There are many others. And most of the people in fintech did not study engineering, by the way. What did they have? They saw a problem and they wanted to fix the problem. And fintech was the way to fix that problem because it was a financial problem that they were trying to fix. There's health tech also, if you want to fix problem in healthcare. And many other techs like that, okay? Now, this is the map of the world. They call it the dark continent, seen from outer space many years ago. And this picture used to inspire me. Why? It shows Africa in darkness. It's called the dark continent. So every other place had light, but they took light in Africa. So if you are in Africa and you see that picture, what comes to your head? Do you see opportunity or do you see a cursed continent? Early this year, I was in church, pastor was speaking, and I went on and I Googled which continent is the most blessed. Guess what came up? Africa. How can the most blessed continent be in darkness? So it could be opportunities. Yeah. And one thing about technology is that the more you come in much later, you tend to leapfrog. So you have better tools at your disposal. In my days in Uniben, we had to learn Fortran 707, COBOL, Pascal. But guess what? Today, people don't learn to code. AI does it for them. But they can code today. But in our time, it was a nightmare. So as time goes on, it becomes a lot easier. And that is why some of us need to understand that knowledge becomes democratized if you are able to tap into it. Again, this is another view. Next slide. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because there are a few things I want to drop. There's a view that by 2050 or so, Nigeria will be number 14 in the whole world. When I was being introduced, they said something about my doing a program at Wharton, SIPS, and ESA. That was a global CEO program. The very first night was in Brazil. We have flown into Brazil, exhausted. It was a very long flight. It was the longest flight in my life. Got in, and they said that night you must have the first course. I was thinking of I was going to stay awake. I was drinking all the coffee I could drink. And then a lecturer came in and he said something as if he knew what was going through my head. How am I going to stay awake? He said, how many of you from Nigeria here? There were 3 of us who put up our hands. He said, what if I tell you that by 2050, 24 years from now, roughly, your country will be number 10 in the world. We said it's not possible. It's possible. How can? Nigeria, where? How? And he asked a few questions. He said, okay, if you don't think it's your country, can we change the question? He said, take a sheet of paper all of you in the room and write in your own view, by any dimension, which country will be number 1 by 2015, the whole world. I wrote my own down. Number 2, I wrote my own down. Number 3, I wrote my own down. They continued to number 4, number 5, to number 10. By the time I got to number 3, I couldn't think again. Sleep was not hitting me. I said, I've tried. 3 out of 10 is not bad. I left it there. So when we're done, now ask everybody, you, who's number one? The guy said China. Said, if any other person said China, put up your hand. Everybody in the room said China. So we all agreed that China will be number one by 2050. We did go to the same schools, so we came from different parts of the world, but we all agreed China will be number one. So put number one, China. Ask the same guy, who's number two? Gentleman said the US. Okay, if anybody has US as number two, put up your hand. Everybody put up their hand. And he said, reverse. He said, who is number two? He said India. Everybody put up their hand. It was India, so he said India number two. Number three, the same guy said USA. Who else asked USA? Everybody said that was our number three. In that room of people from different parts of the world, we all agreed that China will be number one by 2050. India will be number two, and USA will be number three. But and I said, how did all of you from different backgrounds, without any research, come to this conclusion? And I couldn't tell. Maybe we'll be reading stuff. For me, it was based on what I'll be reading, what I'm seeing, And then he said, what is common to all of them? My first word, Christianity. No, now, not India, not even China. What is the whole thing? It came down to population. Okay? It came down to population. In other words, if you have a lot of population, you have a ready market. You also have plenty of problems. And those plenty of problems need to be solved. I tell young people, especially in my business, that nobody cares if you want to be rich. We don't care about which problem do I have that you are solving. That is what I pay for. So if you like, bring pure water of 10,000 naira, I'm not buying. The problem never reached like that. The value ascribed to water never reached 10,000 yet. So you're on your own. Okay. So the point I'm trying to make is that we need to build to solve real problems. Technology gives you the tool to solve, because to solve, distribution becomes your next issue to solve. And how do you get to many people? It's using technology. Okay? So let me address something that he said. When we address strategy in InterSwitch, what we thought we were doing innovation. So the version that he gave, let me give you my own version inside InterSwitch. When we started, we wanted to fix one problem. We didn't like the fact that people were going to banks to queue up and collect tally number. Some of you who are quite young will not know this. In this market before, you have to go to a bank, queue up, the queue will get outside, and they'll give you tally number. If you leave the office by noon and tell your boss, I want to go to the bank and come back, you don't come back. You close it in the bank. Then when banks saw that they couldn't cope, they now extended to Saturday banking. That's Saturday banking, because they couldn't address it. If you manage to get money on Friday, when you are going home, then I used to live at Iyanoba, at either Akpongbo or my two. They will collect the money from you. The money will not get home after you have queued up with tally number. If he gets home, usually on Saturday, they appear. How they know you have money at home, I don't know. When last did armed robbers come to your house to collect money from your home? Oh, come on. That problem has been solved. Okay? So what we wanted to solve was that social problem. Okay? How do you solve it? People had been solving it before we came. There used to be a product called Value Card in those days. It was based on technology. And the technology was, there has to be a safer way to carry cash. Put it on a card, digitize it. Good concept. Innovative at the time. But after some time, it wasn't working for everybody. Why? Because just like in we listen to the customer. And not everybody has big cash to carry. So safety of carrying cash was not everybody's problem. Actually, the real problem is access to cash. The reason I'm carrying a lot of money is because I struggled. Constraints. Let me use English term. I struggled to get money I've worked for from my bank. Now that I've gotten it, I need only 5,000. Let me collect 500,000 because I don't want to go through this constraint again. That was what we were trying to solve. We felt the root cause of the safety problem was the constraint of getting cash. So when people were trying to eliminate cash, every weekend when I go out, church offering cash. Party, they want to spray. Even burial, where they are mourning, somehow cash enters, they start spraying. Birthday party, cash. So what the people wanted was access to cash, not for you to eliminate cash. And we have not eliminated cash today. But what we solved was how can people get cash just in time, without stress. The ATM, already being used everywhere in the world, was not in Nigeria. So we said, let us fix that. Let's give people access to ATMs. Okay? We were still trying to do ATM business. People started saying, can we collect money online? So we created WebPay. We created it, we knew there were constraints. So we made it difficult. Because we fear our people. The one I collect from you that I count, when I count it, it's not complete. Is it the one? So we said, we will put constraints. We put it. We made it difficult so that it's called work factor. The more work you do, the better. So you filter out the people you don't want. Because we are busy doing other things. We had work to do. This was a distraction. Strategy sometimes is knowing what not to do. Sometimes we all know what to do. You must also know what you must not do. So we decided we're not going to do this thing. So we just created a product called WebPay, just to show that it's possible. But guess what? We had no fraud management system. We have not built it. We have not bought it. We didn't have the money. So the things you need to put behind the product to eliminate fraud, we didn't have. So you look for people we could trust. That is what you call partners. And we only charge you 150. Oh. I became 500, I don't know. You know they will put something on top. I'm confessing that it was only 150 we collected though. And that 150, we were sharing it. We took 75, our partner took 75. How did it become 500? Maybe somebody else was topping it up somewhere. What do you call that today? We're padding it. Maybe somebody was padding it. It was 150 we collected. But that was the strategy. Okay? So we wanted to build the highway. We have built the highway. We have connected all the banks. When you build a highway, you don't lock people out. You just want to collect toll. It's called live and let live. So you need partners. We built the highway. The cars were not passing it. Why? There's no filling station now. Before I get from here to Kaduna, before we finish now, how can I use your highway when there's nowhere to refuel? We're not in the business of putting filling station, but so that people can use, we want to put filling station. Okay, we put filling station, use. No, now. It's long. We need to rest now. We can't just drive the whole day. We start putting small hotels, by the way. Toilets, so that people can park, restaurant. But that wasn't our business. There are people like Flutterwave came. And they say, yes, we can build better filling stations. We say, by all means, go ahead. Because we didn't want to do that. So WebPay was John the Baptist. It was the forerunner. It was deliberate. And when they started, we put back. That is why he said they were using us behind the scene. We were just the highway, collecting toll. We didn't want to own filling station. We didn't want to do any other thing. Strategy is doing what not to do. Today, every competitor of InterSwitch is a customer of InterSwitch. All. Okay? So when some of our friends say they are competitors, I laugh because we see you as partners. Why? Because the problem to be solved is bigger than one company. The ecosystem has to grow. InterSwitch created Verve. We have over 120 million Verve cards. Who are those collecting them? All our partners who compete against us. They're the ones receiving it. InterSwitch has not sold one Verve card. We left it for security, for APA Plus, and many companies that created companies that employed people. Okay? When we created QuickTeller, what did we do? We gave it to all the banks to use for their mobile banking. It was mobile banking that reduced QuickTeller's customers, but we didn't mind, because that is where it belonged. QuickTeller was a forerunner for OPay, MoneyPoint, all of them. But InterSwitch still stands. Strategy is knowing what not to do. Stick to your knitting and let others grow. You can seed it, let others grow. And that's what has kept us for 25 years. Okay? Next slide. Why am I saying this? This is all technology. This is all technology. When we started InterSwitch, it was 2002. MTN has just acquired a license with $285 million. Econet Wireless too, $285 million. So our calculation in InterSwitch was that if these guys are spending this kind of money, clearly, telecoms will do well. So we made a bet on an online, real-time, instantaneous payment system. It was a bet. It was faith. You talk about men of faith. We have faith too. That it will be better one day. Telecoms will do okay. So let us build our business on this faith. And the faith paid off. That is why today in Nigeria, you can transform it to someone. The money is still in your bank. They are spending it. Not many markets can do that. Many years after we were doing instantaneous payments, the UK, our masters, started talking about faster payments. When somebody says I'm doing faster payments, they are actually saying that what they had before was slow. We moved from nothing to instantaneous. And we are still standing. Technology. What is your business model? Because everybody wants to do technology, but you need to agree what your business model is. Very important. Your business model is your secret for making money. Our secret for making money in InterSwitch is live and let live. Use hubs to let a partner. Let them innovate around us, but use our infrastructure. They charge the customer, they give us small change. I take collect small change from everybody because plenty change, correct? That's our business model. We are not a payment company, we're a technology company that started with payments. As I speak to you right now, InterSwitch is something in healthcare. That's not payments. This is something in transportation. That's not payments. We're using technology to solve Nigeria's biggest problem. And very soon, you saw those things we are doing healthcare, transportation, and agriculture, those kind of things, because it's the same DNA. Your business model is about your DNA. You can apply that DNA to solve any problem. So as you think about technology, you ask yourself, what is your DNA? Your DNA could be, I am a film producer. And you could have been able to create Netflix. Your DNA could have been, I am a transporter, Ekenet Electrical Motors. Ekenet Electrical Motors could have created Uber. If they knew how to leverage technology. Get the point? So don't look at technology as I must do tech. Wherever you are, how can I use technology to distribution? That is the biggest advantage it gives to you. Okay, next slide. One other thing. Let me talk about this. Tropical Savannah. I tell people that we are the tropical Savannah, but not the Silicon Valley. Okay, let me explain this because of you. Before you go and put me somewhere. I've run InterSwitch for 20-something years. When we started with 200 million naira, converted to dollars. We needed 450 million. We only got 200 because then there was no venture capital, there was no PFMs. All we could get was Smith's fund from CBN, and CBN said the maximum you can get is 200 million, and your staff rate must not be more than this. So we had to fix ourselves that constraint to get the money. It was equity, not a loan. Needed 450. With 450, we're supposed to break even in year 4. With 200, we broke even in year 2. There's no fintech in this market that has broken even in 2 years. You can't find that, no. Sometimes they celebrate 10 and they're still making losses. Series A, Series B, Series C, Series whatever. Some of them, like Ian said, are now what? They just create business cases, projections, and talk to people that are far from here. they collect money, after that they crash the business themselves. That is not the way we learn it. The traditional apprenticeship model of the Igbos work very well. That's what we should build. That is why once there's a small problem, money dries up, no FDI. Companies that were doing well start to retrench, creating more social problems. A few days ago, I told some of my friends that I think all of us were making the same mistake our forefathers made. Because at the downtime, they gave them a mirror, ogogoro, and some other things, and they fell. Our own, they are trained towards valuation. Internship was profitable, generating cash before we engaged PE firms. I never thought of becoming a unicorn. I didn't even know what it was until we said, oh, you guys have achieved a unicorn now. What is unicorn? You achieved 1 billion. If I have $1 billion, how many jobs have I created? What am I contributing to tax for government to develop the country? Okay? So think about your business model and where you operate from. My advice to entrepreneurs is that go for your Series A, and that is the only money you ever raise, because the other ones are not guaranteed. Get your unit economics right. In Africa, you need to know our people. You cannot give me something for free, and tomorrow you want to now charge me for it. I'll be very angry. If you don't say you don't give me, why you even give me before? I don't enjoy this, you won't come. What is all this? I get angry. So this idea that you can be making losses for many years, one day, that man that couldn't pay you at the beginning can suddenly now pay you. When things are getting more difficult, it's mirage. Take time to understand your customers. Any product you have that somebody cannot pay, it's not the product. That is why that water of 10,000 is not the product. I won't pay. I'll go and manufacture my own water. Okay? So it's good to get this right. Because you all are trying to do business. All we are seeing today is this person raised this amount of money, this person raised that. How many of us can raise money like that? So just of us that can raise money, we shouldn't enter business. Change that mindset. Usually, friends and family are the ones that give you your startup capital, not even banks. Who are those that believe in you enough to say, Shay, I will back you with 1 million? If people cannot back you, people that know you cannot back you, why are you depending on people that don't know you to back you? You have to lie to them. That is why we all come up with projections that are not true. And those guys are smart. When you give those projections, they put losses in there that allow them to take back the company from you. And that is why you now find a lot of entrepreneurs fighting with their PE firm because the rubber has not hit the road. Okay? Moving on. Next slide. I'm trying to rush now because of time. Most times we need data to come up with business models and stuff like that. I will say, oh, there's no data in Nigeria, there's no data in Nigeria. I just want to share something I noticed once. Because I had that same problem when we were starting InterSwitch. They will ask me, what is the GDP of Nigeria? I will tell them. If they say Nigeria is the biggest economy in Africa, therefore the GDP of Nigeria will be very high, correct? But what is important is not GDP, it's GDP per capita. If you take that GDP divided by the number of 200 million people that we have, it becomes very small compared to other people. Meaning what others can afford, we cannot afford them. If you want to import software to do your business from a country that has only 50 million people, with GDP per capita that is 10 times your own, there are prices for that GDP per capita. That is why you bring it here. Sorry, it makes no sense. You can't run it profitably. What we started doing with the software to sell to the banks was $450,000 each. We ended up selling it to the banks for $60,000. How did we achieve it? I flew to South Africa, to Cape Town, to meet the owners of the software, and I told them, we cannot afford this in our countries. What do you mean? Federal Bank is using it. They pay this amount of money. ABSA is using it. FMB is using it. I said, the biggest bank in Nigeria is nowhere near those ones. One bank has 25,000 ATMs. In Nigeria, the whole market, we're not up to 30,000 today. How can we use the same software at the same price? So they listened and they crashed it to $60,000. Okay? We're able to sell to all the banks. But guess what? The same banks that couldn't pay 450 later came back and said, we want to pay $1 million to uncap it. Because when we brought it down to 60, we now put restrictions. When you get to this level, you pay more. So there's what they call bulk breaking. You can take technology and break it down. You can have big 50 kg rice. You can also have rice in a small sachet that people can afford. Same thing can be done to technology. So when you're negotiating partnership, don't raise your shoulders. That is one time you can say, I'm from a poor country. We don't have money. We just have plenty of people that don't have money. Let's come down to, don't price for margin, price for volume. I have 200 million people. What can you do with them? This is very important because as we go into the future, Nigeria, we have population, many people, but poor. Our size is in the volumes. But the people you are talking to don't know that. You have to make it clear to them. That is why a lot of businesses fail because the economics are wrong from the one. You go and negotiate, look for money and buy expensive software, like you're in America, like in the USA, you're in the UK. You now bring it here, nobody can afford it. That is why a lot of us run for many years, making losses, okay? So the toothpick theory is there's always a proxy for something. And you need to look at the people very well to understand it, okay? If you want to create value for me, you need to know me. This is the point Inye was trying to make. And how do you know me? I'll give you an example. Why is it that it's only in Nigeria, when people finish eating, they will ask for toothpick? Even if they drink water, they want toothpick. Why? Put it in your mouth, bounce out. The whole world will know that you have eaten meat. You're a big boy. Abroad, when you want to eat, they ask you, what do you want to eat? You select whether it is fish, meat, or whatever. The starch of vegetables come later as an accompaniment. In our case, it's the reverse. So that is why when you eat meat or fish, you think you're a big boy. The toothpick is the mark of evidence that you've eaten like a big boy. Okay? But what does that really mean? That means that if you want to know the number of people that came into a restaurant, they may not be able to tell you. If you know the number of toothpicks that they took out that day, it gives you a sense for how many people came to eat. It may not be exact, but it gives you a sense. What I'm trying to break down, whenever you need data and you can't have it, think of what is a proxy data that you can use. There's always something else that may not be exactly accurate, but will give you a sense that you can use to check. Live and let live. Again, the point I was trying to make before, when you want to build a system where there are a lot of problems, you need to build with other people in mind. And you need to deliberately, InterSwitch introduced ATMs in this market. We never sold one ATM. We never serviced one. We introduced online retail point of sale. We didn't sell point of sale terminals. We didn't sell cards. We want other people to do it because they will do better than us. Okay? So not too long ago, some guy went online and wrote this. I can't see it very well. Basically, it was said that InterSwitch strategy is to annihilate competition. I usually don't respond to this. I see a lot of them written online. This one I had to respond. And my response to them was, sorry, I can't read it. But basically, I was telling them that our strategy has never been to kill others. It's actually to empower our competition. Because we all grow that way. And we call it win, and live and let live. And there's a point you made before, which I want to use this to illustrate. What is winning? Winning and victory are not the same thing. And as Christians, we should be going for victory, not winning. Let me tell you the difference. We want to go to war. It's the men that go to war, not the women, at least today. So I gather all the men in the village, convince them we need to defend our heritage, cannot be slaves, let's go to war. They believe me, I lead them to war. Somehow, I was not in front. But I was dishing out instructions. They all went. These are my instructions, they all died. But somehow, we managed to win the war. By this time, word has gone round that our village won. I gathered the horses. Take all my friends that went with me to war, put them on the horses, but they're all dead. I'm coming back. My own horse. The entire village, mothers and children have come out to welcome us, jubilating. We've won, well done. And as they're coming, I suddenly start to see that everybody's joy was not diminishing. Why? Wives are seeing their husbands dead. Children are seeing their fathers dead. Am I going to marry the women in the village? Am I going to become father to the fatherless children? Was that war necessary? No. Victory is when everybody wins, not one person. And that is what they call the redemptive business model. I'll talk more about that during the Q&A if we have time. Okay? Another thing we must not do is be deceived by business models that make no sense in our environment. The way you look at business, when you have few people, okay, some countries have only 20 million people, roughly the population of Lagos, but they are countries. Some countries, the population is the population of one local government area in Lagos State. So they are going to plan their life based on, I have only 10 million people. Their taxes will be based on 10 million people. If there are 10 million people, maybe they are not hustling too much. I tell people that why people don't like us across Africa is that we have to hustle. We are in a country of 200 million people. Don't hustle first. When you now leave Nigeria and enter South Africa, the hustling spirit does not die. It's already there. It's called the spirit of enterprise. You can't throw it away. But you have to know how to harness it. So this is InterSwitch's performance since inception, how we have grown. Okay? There's online real-time payments in Nigeria for over 20 years. You guys remember that about a year plus ago, there was no cash in the system during Emefiele's time. This was what happened to us then. The spike. In 1 month, everybody that did not get cash came online immediately, by fire, by force. Meaning all the tools they needed to go online before were there. They didn't use it. Why? They love cash. The moment cash came back, in 1 month, everything vanished. This is what I call opportunity. Opportunity. So when you want to get into technology, our space, fintech, be very careful what you're getting into. Everybody is making losses. It's not as rosy. Because they're not tackling the real problem. UX, good UX design, not a business model. Sitting in front of what I have done, I'm making it very fanciful. It's not a business model. You have to go and solve real problems. Okay? Why do certain markets want cash still? The problem to be solved. That is what he's saying. So this is where I'm going here. You see this part in red? It's what I've blown out here. Okay? You see this dent here? This is it here. So this is real-time data, not this is our business. Okay? What am I trying to tell you here? The things in blue is transaction growth. The things in red is Nigeria's GDP. When we were in recession, business was growing. When we came out of recession, business going to grow. We went into a very deep recession again, business going to grow faster. Why? The strength of your business model. If you are in a country where everybody is poor, stay close to the needs of poor people. GDP per capita does not affect them. Survival is survival. Man must work. Man must sleep. If you're not feeling well, thank you. If you're not feeling well, you must go and get treatment. If you need a job, you enter transport. Whether fuel is like this or not. Otherwise, you use your leg at this bench, but you must move. Stay close to what I call the fundamental of living. Nigeria is not the place to use technology to be doing far things. Solve problems that everybody has got and that needs to be solved. That's what you use technology for. The opportunity is still there, but people are applying technology for things that are irrelevant. And that is why once there's one small problem, everybody's getting scattered. Meanwhile, you should stay close to your people. 200 million people have needs. It doesn't matter the price of rice. People must eat. They may not eat rice, they will eat something else, and they will buy it. So farming is an area. How do you apply technology to farming? Housing. I know you sponsored something before. I remember we talked about it a year ago. Why should anybody be paying 1 year rent? 2 years rent? Why can't you pay your rent monthly? Because we earn our salaries monthly. That is a problem to still be solved. Because people must live. People are sharing apartments. Now strangers are sharing apartments. Now condition make crayfish bend. Why would I want to share apartments with you? I don't know you. You pay rent for one room. So there are issues to be solved, and that is what we should be focusing on. Next slide, please. Next slide. So see technology, what I'm saying is that see technology not as the job, but the way to take advantage of opportunities that exist. Next slide. And there are many areas where I think, and I've talked about this already, I've talked about agriculture, healthcare, and so on. There are areas where we still need to go and fix things because they are still using a lot of cash there, okay? And that is where you see that big gap coming from. Next slide. Innovation, when you talk about it, it's not a strategy, it's survival, so you need it. But please do not ignore strategy. What is your strategy? What is your business model? Critical. And in technology, it keeps accelerating. The envelopes keeps getting pushed. Most of you, we see some of the, we recognize the logos on the screen. These are companies that have used technology in an industry that existed before they were born. Some of them have used technology in industries that existed before they were born. Where companies have been operating for over how many years, but they did not see the opportunity to use technology to improve. When we first started, it was VHS, video recorder. You go and borrow film, cassette film, and you watch it. When you watch it, you don't see this film. No, we get some more. I can't take. Then somebody said, okay, let's create video club. Let's create Netflix. Same problem, but being solved in different ways, using technology progressively. Yeah. Next slide. I've talked about this. Design for inclusion. That's what I was trying to do. I said, look, stay close to your people that are hungry, that have needs that you must meet every day. Because whether price of fuel goes up or comes down, they still will look for a way. Buy must survive. They will still buy. Okay? So those things are, I call the fundamentals of living, is where I would recommend anybody to apply technology to. Fundamentals of living. Put your technology there. Make it work. The market is there for you to make it blow. You need to fix it at that point of view. Next slide. And I think that should be the last one. One of the things I tell my people in the industry is that when the facts change, I'll change my mind. I'm not the kind of, everything I've told you today is only relevant up to today. If I step out of this place, they make one policy change, I will change my mind. If you quote me, but you said that yesterday, I said, yeah, that was yesterday. Today, things have changed. We're in a very dynamic world. Nothing remains the same. Okay? Nothing remains the same. So you need to keep interrogating your environment. As you fix one problem, another problem comes. It's a continuous process. Okay? Thank you.
Please put your hands together. That was excellent. Wow. Thank you very much, sir. That was loaded. I did not talk, but I'm sweating. Just the things I heard. And I like the final part. You know, if you watch social media very well, when you say something that hits the nail on the head, you drop the mic and leave. When he said events change, if events change, I'll change my mind. Sir, you are supposed to go and leave the stage. And everybody say, wow. So that was excellent. But one thing you notice about our first two speakers today, a couple of things are similar. Anybody can say something about that? What are the similar things you noted about our two speakers today? Random answer, anybody? They are what? Similar strategies, okay? They are Christians. Similar strategies, they are Christians, okay? What else, anybody? They are not focusing on money. They are focusing on solutions, okay? What else? They are focusing on service. And Mr. Legbe was not here at the beginning of Inyin's conversation, but it looked like they shared notes outside quickly. Say, you talk about this side, I will repeat it, you know? Yes? Problem solvers, excellent. What else? Simplicity. My brother, you are seeing something. I wanted somebody to mention that. But the next thing about it, before we talk about simplicity, you know, some people are simple, but they deserve to be simple. But some other people are billionaires, but they are now simple. You now say, wow, is it that billionaire that is behaving? You see both of them simple. In the course of their conversation, they spoke down to earth, not that faking the pigeon, normal. So they are normal people. So normal people like you and I can also become billionaires. Right? You understand that? So we have 4 that have climbed stage today. You see, we are a little bit dressed alike. If you want to be a billionaire, you have to come and take lessons from us. Me and Pastor Chris first. All right, excellent. Please, I'd like to ask you to keep your eyes on the screen during the course of the event because we cannot interrupt when a speaker is speaking. We've had 1 or 2 people that we needed to call out to come and repark their cars because they were not rightly parked or they're causing obstruction outside. We don't want to create a scene for other people that are not part of this event because of the way public parking is. So please just keep your eyes on the screen. I will not take any papers here to do this. Is a tech event, so if you want to communicate with me, you chat. The barcode on your screen right now is your only gateway to ask questions at this event. So if you want to ask the speakers questions, you need to scan the barcode and get the link, and you know the moderator for the next session, who I'm about to call up, would be able to see and ask your question. So that's what you need to do. Like I said, please keep your eyes on the screen throughout, just in case. Yes, thank you. If you have any questions, scan the barcode and send your questions, but you need to send them quickly. The next session we're going into is a panel session, and I will now be inviting the moderator of the panel, Melvis Ihezwonu. She's a brand and communication strategist, to come and take us through this session. Thank you so much. Okay, bring back this.
So I'm just going to go ahead and take a seat. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Melvis Ihezwonu, and welcome to the 2026 Lekki Roundtable. I am more than sure that we've gotten so much value in the past 1 hour. If we have, can I get a round of applause, please? Thank you. So today, in the next 35 minutes, we're going to be having very powerful conversations around tech, around innovation, and around business, not just as a business person, but as an inclined, God-fearing business person. Because, I mean, that's what we're here, we're here about God, and we're also here about our business growth, right? So the first person I have, and I am honored to welcome, is Mr. Michel Elegbe. He is a huge and has had a huge impact on Nigeria's digital payment space. And I mean, looking back at what he has done in the past 25 years, it takes more than just design.